going to be able to decide what is best for me.
So true. So can you give some words of wisdom for maybe a junior, or sophomore, or a parent guardian who's helping someone who's going to be a senior soon? What's something that you feel that you did too much, right? As we've been following you on this journey, or too little? You mentioned scholarships, right? And doing it earlier versus later. But what's some takeaways that's important for our listeners?
Well, I've taken away that here's a big one for me is that the UC application in the Common App, when I'm being asked to write all of these personal statements and essays, a lot of them can actually be used for other things. And a lot of them are broad enough terms that, like, for a certain scholarship, or I applied to be in the honors program at CSU. And some of those questions, I used my UC application answers, my personal statements to answer those. And you don't have to write a new essay from scratch for every single application, because those UC questions, you're writing 4 or 5 of them. And those are all about different things. And so if they're asking you and something sounds similar, and you can totally adapt it and use something you've already written to answer another question. It's not all that work to come up with a new essay every time, because I've written so many essays during the admissions process, and I've been able to use them more than one time.
No, I mean, it's hard because some people don't have those UC questions, but right now, find a senior who has a PDF of it, because I literally took an old application, made it a worksheet from a rising senior last year. And that's what, right, we were working on. And you can recycle your activity list. There's a lot of things. And what's something that you're like, oh, I would not do that again?
One thing that I would not do again is wait as long as I did to finish up those applications in November. Some of those ones, I know that I could have worked on it a little bit harder before they were due, because I do remember coming back from a trip to Disneyland and working frantically on my computer trying to submit these in. And I turned them in, I think, the day before the due date, but it still was a lot of pressure, and nobody wants to have that stress, and nobody needs to have that stress. You have plenty of time to do those applications. So just be timely with it and don't procrastinate.
Yeah, baby steps. So even if you're a freshman, not saying freshman high school students should be like doing their essays, but like figure out like what you're interested in. Like I'm literally dealing with juniors like, oh, I've never seen colleges. And guess what? One thing that came from COVID-19, everything's online. Like I just watched Emory University with a student about student panel. Yeah, it's on YouTube, guys, right? So there's different things you to do, like even on our podcast here, right? You can listen about Lehigh, Xavier, Oberlin College. And yes, don't worry, guys, more to come. So baby steps, little by little, just do something college every week. Do something about taking care of yourself. Like don't think about college as well. Have fun. So important. Do something that you love. So even if, right, like Isabel, what's something that you love that you did in high school that even if you don't get into searching schools, you're so glad you did it?
Yeah, so I was a part of leadership. I was an ASB student. I was junior governor, and I helped make big decisions. And that was something that I used in my college application, but it's also something that I would not regret. If I wasn't able to use that in my college application, I would have still done it because it was such a great experience. Same with like being an anchor on Wolfpack TV for my school's broadcasting program. That was just an awesome experience. It gave me so many qualities, and it gave me so much, so much experience working with other people and working with speaking to large audiences. And I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to use that in the future.
And that's the thing that's so important, right? And I do want to say, a lot of people are like, oh, okay, I'll be president or VP of my school. Isabel is really being honest. She's not just had that title. She went above and beyond, like consulting with the school, how to deal with activities still for the kids during a pandemic, how to do an advisory board to do inclusiveness, how to do projects. I mean, it's nonstop. And so, which doesn't surprise me, that she does have so many acceptances. And if there's a school that doesn't accept her, then that's their loss. She has her whole life to prove them wrong. And this isn't a subjective process. You and I, listeners, know how amazing she is. And so that's something that's so important. And also, I'm really grateful for you being on this podcast. And to continuing listening to you about your journey too. What a blessing. What a blessing.
And I'm so grateful to be here. And I hope that my journey can help other people and help guide them so they don't make mistakes I did. And so they can understand the college process a little bit better, because I was like, this was so new for me. And I was just talking to my mom about this earlier. And she's saying for my younger sister, it's going to be so much different for her because there's so many things that she knows now. And so I'm hoping that for all of you guys who are feeling uneasy about this, that this takes some of the weight off and it helps you feel a little bit better, because nobody's alone and everybody's feeling anxious. And, it's you're not alone in this process.
No, and I think the thing is, when there's a question, concern, ask for help, right? Like there was a hiccup that happened, right? And it's like, okay, what should I do? And it was frustrating because you have midterms, you have finals, you have a life, and you're like, oh my God, I have to contact how many schools to do what? But you did it and you repaired it and you focus on the solution, not focus on the problem, right? And that's something that's really important. So let's talk about some other takeaways. And Isabel has said this over and over, take care of yourself, right? Find out who are your allies. Don't be afraid of the adults to ask for help. If one adult says no, knock on another door. It's okay, especially if they're in a school system. They are designed to be there to help others, and that's why we created this resource that's for you. And then for you guys to build on. Just before we got on this podcast, I was talking to Isabel. Hey, how's your test going? How's studying? Because grades matter, people. I have some beautiful students that, oh my God, they did amazing things, but they got like a C at a very prestigious school. And that school said, quote, oh, well, if our wait list is really strong, we may not revoke their acceptance letter. Yes, they could take away your acceptance letter if you're not up to par. So the goal is no lower than a B, people, no lower than a B. And if it's a C, check with the school if it's okay, right? So senioritis is no joke, and stay away from it. How's your senioritis, Isabel?
I feel it coming on. I do have some really hard classes this term, but I'm feeling a little better because the end of my quarter ends this Friday. And so I move on to a new quarter, and those classes are going to be pretty easy and pretty doable. And so the last of these hard AP classes, it's going to end this week. I have my finals and it's going to be difficult. And I'm worried about keeping a B in this one class. And I don't want to get a C. I can't get a C because I've been doing so well. But senioritis definitely kicks in and it does make a difference. You just have to keep telling yourself, like, don't slack off just yet. These college decisions are so important, and you can't just because you've already applied and, oh, I've already gotten accepted into Colorado State. That's what I want. And I don't need to keep my grades up. That's not true at all. You need to keep your grades like you've been doing. What did you do to get into that school? Keep that up.
I had some horror stories in August. A kid got, because you find out really late that they took away their acceptance letter, and there's not much colleges. I mean, it's mainly community colleges or schools have rolling admissions, right? So it gets scary. And another part that gets scary is money. Parents and guardians, if you're out there, be honest with your kids what you can and cannot afford. Don't say we'll figure it out. I cannot tell you the high percentage of kids who drop out after freshman year because the families bid in too much. They got a loan. You don't need a loan with no degree. That does make sense. Parents and guardians should not have a loan. Kids, it's okay. No more than $5,000 from a student loan. No more. Get that summer job. Suck it up if you never had a job. No shame being an ice cream scooper. It'll build character. Trust me. But be really honest and be prepared that even if you appeal school, they may not come in. So it happens. So that's why make sure you have that likelihood financially. And the other thing is, regardless of what happens in the acceptances, remember that you make the college, not the college makes you. And what I mean by that, a lot of times people get fixated by the name and not realize, like, once you're in your career, Isabel, tell me, are people going to your parents nonstop asking, oh, where did you go to college? Where did you go to college?
No, not at all.
No, I mean, look at a LinkedIn account. The degree, if you go to LinkedIn, which is for job opportunities, or Indeed, it's all the way to the bottom. Maybe for your first job, like for for networking, or from the career center, the name plate. But after that, and I know some students who've gone into some big name schools, and they'll come to me. I'm talking from Ivy League. Hey, Carl, can you help me with a job or internship? And I'm thinking, I am not that resourceful compared to these places that have so much more money than me. They should pay me some money. But anyway, remember, is where you have their happiness. And school's not all academic. It's 60% of the time is fun. So if you can't see yourself there, even on a bad day driving, you need to change that. And then just don't forget to be just honest about what you need, right? If you need that party life, you need the Starbucks, you need inclusivity, you want to feel that you belong, be honest. And sometimes that name, something that you thought you want, is not what you want. Anything else you want to add on, Isabel?
I honestly do not have anything else to say. I think we covered everything that I have been thinking about the past few months. Waiting for these decisions is tough, but I'm going to get through it, and hopefully we hope for the best, And if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen, and I still have some great colleges and great options to choose from, and I'm excited.
I'm putting my neck out there. We're saying the best has already happened, Isabel. You're here. You are you, and you're doing your thing. It's a podcast. We had somebody talk about, it was a random school, talk about a mural in someone's bedroom that they worked on 3 months. I go, oh my God, Isabel, that's you. That's your essay that you wrote about. And so you already made an impression, and definitely an impression on us. So we all, myself and all the listeners, wish you the best on this journey. And then hopefully we could hear about after May 1st, where you decide to go and how you made that process and that decision making. Okay?
Thank you. Yes.
All right. Okay, everybody. Please subscribe. Thank you to Fonseca at FonsecaShow.com for producing this. Always millions of thanks to Isabel and her beautiful family. And to all of you, until next time.